Okay, stop scrolling, put down your coffee. Actually, no, keep the coffee. You're going to need it for this one. What I'm about to tell you sounds like it has absolutely nothing to do with your life. It involves Japan, Japanese bonds, interest rates, yield curves. I know, you're already thinking, why is this guy talking about Japan when I'm just trying to afford my grocery bill? But here's the thing. What is happening in Japan right now is like a crack in the foundation of a building. You live in that building, and nobody is telling you about the crack. So today we are going to talk about why Japan is cracking, why the bond market is basically screaming at all of us, why Americans are paper rich but cash poor, and where smart money is actually moving right now. This is not a doom and gloom video. This is a wake-up video, because the greatest wealth transfer in a generation is already happening, and the only question is which side of it you end up on. Let's get into it. What is Japan even doing? Alright, let's start with Japan. For the last few decades, Japan has been running what I can only describe as the world's most expensive financial science experiment. Massive government debt, artificially low interest rates, a central bank that basically told the entire market, hey, don't worry, money will be cheap forever. They actually believe that. That is like going to an all-you-can-eat buffet every single day and telling yourself this is totally sustainable for my health. Spoiler alert, it is not sustainable. And Japan is now unbuttoning its financial pants because things are getting uncomfortable. Here is what is actually happening right now. Long-term Japanese bond yields are surging. The 30-year Japanese government bond is hitting record levels. The 10-year yield is moving back toward levels Japan has not seen since the 1990s. Now you might be thinking, okay, great, Japan has expensive bonds. Why do I care? Because Japan is not just some island economy making sushi and selling Toyotas. Japan is one of the largest foreign holders of U.S. Treasury bonds in the entire world. Japanese banks, pension funds, insurance companies, they are all deeply tied into U.S. bonds, European bonds, and the global financial market. So when Japan starts taking losses at home, what do? They sell what they can. They start dumping U.S. treasuries. And when U.S. treasuries get dumped, yields go up. And when yields go up, everything gets more expensive. Your mortgage, your car loan, your credit card rate, your retirement account. Still think Japan is irrelevant? Yeah, I didn't think so. The bond market is yelling. Let me show you something that should genuinely concern you. Every single time in modern history that bond yields have spiked, something is broken. Every single time. The 1987 stock market crash, the 1990 recession, the Mexican peso crisis, the Asian financial crisis, the tech bubble, the global financial crisis, the euro debt crisis, the taper tantrum, the 2018 global sell-off. Over and over and over again, the bond market starts screaming before the stock market even admits there is a problem. The stock market is like that one friend who insists the party is still going great while the house is literally on fire. The bond market is the smoke alarm. And right now, that smoke alarm is going absolutely crazy. But here is what makes right now different from every other crisis. For 40 years, we were in a bond bull market. Interest rates kept falling. Every single crisis could be papered over with cheaper money. The Fed could cut rates. Governments could borrow more. Corporations could refinance. Consumers could take on more debt. That was the system. Cheap money forever. Sound familiar? It should, because it sounds exactly like what Japan was doing. Then COVID hit. Rates crashed to basically zero. And then boom, they reversed violently. Now we are back near 5% on the 10-year Treasury. The 30-year Treasury is hitting levels we have not seen since before the last financial crisis. This is not a normal market cycle, people. This is the end of a 40-year era. And the transition periods between eras, those are not comfortable times. Paper rich, cash poor. Now let's talk about something closer to home. On paper, Americans have never looked richer. Real estate values exploded, stocks exploded, retirement accounts exploded, housing exploded. Corporate equities have gone almost vertical since 2020. Sounds great, right? Pop the champagne. But here is this uncomfortable truth that nobody at the dinner party wants to say out loud. A lot of this is just paper wealth. Your house might be worth $400,000 on Zillow. But if you sell it, where are you going to go? Every other house also costs $400,000 now. And the new mortgage rate is 7%, not 3%. Your 401k might look healthy, but zoom in and it is basically riding on 5 mega-cap tech stocks hoping they do not sneeze. Your home equity might look massive, but tapping it means borrowing at much higher rates. Here is the honest truth. You cannot eat equity. You cannot feed your family with a Zillow estimate. You cannot pay your electric bill with unrealized gains. Americans right now are paper wealthy and cash poor, and that is the trap. I was talking to a neighbor recently and she told me she just filled up her truck. Cost her $111. She laughed, not because it was funny, but because sometimes laughing is the only thing left to do when crying about it will not change anything. That laugh? That is what the real economy sounds like right now. The rich own assets that generate cash. The middle class owns liabilities dressed up as assets. And the poor are just getting absolutely crushed by rent, food, insurance, debt, and energy costs every single month. The consumer is already tapped out. Here is a chart that might be the scariest one I can show you. U.S. consumer discretionary stocks versus the S&P 500. In plain English, this shows how the average consumer-facing company is performing compared to the broader market. And it is collapsing. We are back near great financial crisis levels. This means the businesses that depend on regular Americans having a little extra money at the end of the month. Restaurants, retailers, travel, leisure, apparel, home goods, they are already telling you loud and clear. The consumer is tapped out. Costco, one of the most reliable economic indicators on the planet, recently said their customers are no longer buying red meat. Now that might sound small, but every single time Costco customers have pulled back on red meat historically, the economy was heading towards serious trouble. So the next time someone tells you the economy is strong, ask them strong for WHO exactly. Strong for Nvidia? Sure, great for them. Strong for the top 5 tech companies? Absolutely. But the average American, they are not experiencing strength. They are experiencing exhaustion. Credit card debt is at an all-time high. Buy now, pay later services are absolutely exploding. Car payments are outrageous. Insurance costs are through the roof. Grocery prices are still painfully high. People are literally borrowing money just to survive. But the S&P 500 looks fine because a tiny group of massive technology companies is like a beautiful curtain hiding the chaos happening behind it. That is the K-shaped economy. The top keeps floating higher. The bottom gets quietly crushed. Wall Street celebrates. Main Street bleeds. So where does the money go? Okay, so we have covered the scary part. Japan cracking. Bond market screaming. Consumer tapped out. Paper wealth that you cannot spend. Got it. Now, where does smart money actually go from here? Because here is the thing about wealth transfers. They do not announce themselves on the news. They do not send you a calendar invite. They happen slowly, quietly, and then suddenly, and the pattern is always the same. Money moves out of paper promises and into real things. What real things? Energy, copper, silver, uranium, critical minerals, food, productive land, infrastructure, warehouses, defense, manufacturing. Anything tied to the real physical world. Think about it this way. The old system was built on 4 things: cheap money, cheap imports, cheap labor, cheap energy. All 4 of those things are now getting more expensive. That system is breaking. The new system is being built on reindustrialization, reshoring of businesses back to America, massive defense spending, new supply chains, power grids, data centers, nuclear energy, rockets, satellites, mining, manufacturing, refining. And here is the punchline, pun absolutely intended. You cannot build any of that with financial engineering. You need actual physical things. Copper, silver, uranium, oil, gas, steel. You need electricity. You need infrastructure. The people who understand this early and position themselves accordingly will be in a very different place from the people who keep pretending this is just another normal cycle. This is not normal. What does this mean for you? So what do you actually do with all of this information? First, understand what is happening. Japan is not just a Japan problem. The bond market is not just a Wall Street problem. This is a plumbing problem for the entire global economy. And the pipes are cracking right now. Second, take an honest look at your own financial picture. Are you paper wealthy or actually financially resilient? There is a big difference between looking rich on a spreadsheet and actually being prepared for a higher rate, higher cost world. Third, think about where real value is going, not paper promises, not financial engineering, real things, real assets, real production, energy, materials, infrastructure, manufacturing. Fourth, do not panic, seriously. Panic is the most expensive financial decision you can make. The people who panicked in 2008 locked in their losses. The people who stayed calm and repositioned thoughtfully, they came out the other side in much better shape. Knowledge is the best hedge you have right now. Understanding what is happening gives you options. Options that most people sitting in the dark do not have. So let's bring it all home. Japan is cracking. The bond market is the loudest smoke alarm in the room, and most people have their headphones in. Americans are paper rich and cash poor. The consumer is already showing serious signs of exhaustion. And the greatest wealth transfer in this generation is already underway. The question is not if this affects you. The question is whether you are going to be informed and prepared, or whether you are going to find out the hard way when it is already too late. Because as one very wise person once said, the best time to fix the roof is when the sun is shining. Right now, it is still sunny, but those clouds over Japan, they are getting closer. If this video helped you understand something that the mainstream media is completely ignoring, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below telling me what part of this concerned you the most. I read every single comment, and your question might just become the next video. Stay informed, stay prepared, and I will see you in the next one.